Chayo Nityaha Sharanagata Rakshakaha Nimeshada Apadam Harta Nirnimesha Vilochanaha Bardhi Dhamanathai Brahmane Brahmacharine Tataya Lokenathai Namaste Lokya Bandhave Naguro Radhikam Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam. Jai Baba Lokenath. I hope those of you who have read this particular biography of Baba Lokenath, you must have read the last but one chapter with the title of the Gospel. One of the disciples of Baba was very close to him. The one thing that he did was something unique. He not only went to the small hamlet of Bharati to have the darshan of Baba, he not only came to Baba again and again, but at the same time, he asked Baba questions. Pariprashnana sevaya. One of the ways by which you serve your Guru, one of the ways by which you walk the path of true knowledge, the ultimate knowledge, the supreme knowledge, the knowledge of the self, the knowledge of the Atman, or the Brahman, is that you approach your teacher and ask for guidance. Ask for your deeper quest to be resolved by the Master. It's not what questions come into your mind. It is not what mind answers to you. Because there could be many moments when the mind can answer you, but they could just come out of lot of the stuff that already been collected from other sources. And you do not know out of all this which exactly is truly the answer that has to come to you and that should be at the same time deciding your path of spiritual progression. The only one who decidedly resolved this particular aspect of our spiritual journey or quest is the teacher. So the teacher-student relationship also holds with it the treasure of the conversations that happen between the teacher and the student. Many students, or what we call as disciples, shishyas, they do come to their Guru. They do ask questions. They do get wonderful answers. They do feel absolutely blessed. But not many do what Yamini has done. Yamini was that way very, very unique. He not only came to Baba, he was not only blessed by Baba, but he at the same time collected everything from Baba. And then what did he do? He basically put them all in a diary. In his own journal, he maintained his own personal journal in which he wrote down what he heard from Baba, verbatim, without putting any of his personal stuff into it, but just trying to collect the words of the Master as it flowed from his eternal source that the Master is identified with. So here today, we will just read out a few of the Gospels and try to probe deeper into it in order to find the path. One thing we all need to understand in life is this, that spirituality is a journey. And this journey needs kind of informations about how the others have reached to their destinations, what experiences they have gone through, what kind of interactions they had with their own master or teacher, what exactly that way is the role of the guru, the teacher, in the life of a student or shishya or disciple, in finally manifesting the truth that is already hidden, potentially there in the heart or in the shrine of the heart of a disciple. Under this particular chapter, the Gospel, we have the conversation between Jamini and Baba Lokenath, and they are so beautifully written here. I will start reading them as is and then try to find what Baba has to say little more on these very subjects. Here then is an excerpt from Sri Jamini Kumar Mukhopadhyay's book entitled Dharmasar Sangraha. Dharmasar Sangraha means the essence, the quintessence of the ultimate principle of governance, the law. Dharma is the law by which this whole cosmic creation, preservation or sustenance, and ultimate recycling, which is the aspect of annihilation. So the srishti and then the sthiti. Srishti is creation, sthiti means that particular phase in which that which is created is sustained. Srishti is when it is created. So from the creator comes the creation, and then the creator also does the second aspect, and that is to sustain what is created. And finally, whatever is created is not destroyed. Whatever is created is not only sustained but also is gradually taken to a space wherein the created thing can ultimately reach its final state of evolution. And that is a phase where it needs to go through a process of recycling. It's an endless process. It is that way. When the creator creates, he not only creates, but he also sustains it. If I would say, when the creator creates, she, because the moment the creation comes, you will come to know this as we go and proceed on this, the creative process is totally the Brahma Shakti. Brahman, in absolute, there's no creation. But the Brahman, when it manifests, when the dynamic aspect comes, when the seed sprouts and the manifestation comes, then what happens? Brahma Shakti comes into our visibility. Now we only see the creative process. The creative process is the feminine divine. Here it's not about he anymore, it's more the she. It is not just the father, the seed giver. It is the mother who fertilizes the seed and gives birth to the baby. And this baby is the universe. Creation, sustenance, and then annihilation is the process by which the whole cycle of evolution now turns towards the final culmination, where you finally reach to that evolved state of consciousness where you are back to the source. So it's more like creation, sustenance, and annihilation. Srishti, sthiti, pralaya. Laya means where it ultimately goes to the ultimate reality again back. So here we'll just come to it. Dharmasar Sangraha means collection of the essential teachings of Dharma. Okay? Jamini is asking Baba Lokenath, what is the meaning of term Tap. There is a particular word in Sanskrit and in Bengali, in Hindi. What is it? What is tap? Baba Lokenath is answering to Jamini. It is a state of mind which happens as a consequence of the experience. It is a state of mind which happens as a consequence of what? Of the experience of sorrows, happiness, victory or defeat. Sorrows, happiness, victory and defeat. These are different human experience. We all at some stage or the other must have experienced this. What? The sorrows and the happiness and the victory and the defeat, the success and failure. So here it's more about the sorrows, the happiness, the success and the failure, the victory and the defeat. All of these human experiences, according to Baba, comes as a consequence of our actions. And this consequence of our actions, when we find that we suddenly have done something, but at the same time it has given result to miseries and sorrows and affliction and pain and suffering. So this is one aspect, the pain and suffering, which is sorrows and miseries. At the same time, Baba says that tap includes, tap not only in, tap means it's like, if we really exactly try to find out the connotation of it, tap means it's a kind of a heat. If you sit in front of a fireplace or a fire lit in front of you, you will feel heat, the impact of heat, because that's fire. In the same manner, all the enlightened teachers coming from every what I would say is every other tradition of the world, they basically have talked about one thing, and that is this world is all about suffering. It's all suffering. Now, if it is all suffering, then our experience also tells us it's not about suffering. There are definitely instances in everyone's life where we know that we have enjoyed so much, we had so much fun, we had so much happiness, we had so much joy, delight. This is everybody's experience. Their life is not about tears. Their life is not about the agonies. The life also has the charm of ecstasies too. So ecstasies and agonies, sorrows, and at the same time there are phases of happiness in human life. But the wonder of wonder is that Baba Lokenath is talking to each one of us saying that even your happiness is also a suffering. Your happiness also is generating tap. Tap is something which brings about a state of kind of unhappiness. But how can happiness create a state of unhappiness? This is something very strange. It's okay, I do understand. If it is a suffering, then there's some sorrow, something has happened which completely goes against my expectation and creates a sense of frustration, and it creates a sense of deep anguish inside of me, pain, misery, anger, frustration. I understand. This is actually, it's like a heat inside. I can understand. This is a very unpleasant feeling inside of me. But the question that is deeper is why Baba Lokenath is saying to Jamini that tap, which is a kind of a suffering, why he is including our experience of happiness into it? Why is he bringing our experience of delight into it? Why Baba is talking like this? Why is he including happiness as suffering? Happiness cannot be suffering. We all want to be happy in this world because we want to avoid suffering. We don't like pain. That's the reason we all go for pleasures. And we always look for moments when we can have some pleasure. But why Baba is saying even your pleasure is a suffering. This is something which normally, if you tell this to everybody, instantly they will not be able to understand the inner essence of this great wisdom hidden in these words of the great Grandmaster of the Himalayas. Baba is bringing the most essential part of why in this world you find there is one single Buddha. Or why in the world, in each and every traditions of the deepest search of human excellence, there has always been people who came to us to tell us about a world higher than where we all live, though they talk a kind of a different language. And that language, as if it belongs to yet another world beyond our world, where everything looks like, oh goodness, this is awesome. Imagine if you could be in a state where no question of your past memories or no question of your future anxieties anymore bother you, and you are in a state of complete present in the nowness, in exactly the space where you are, and in exactly the time which freezes into the now. Imagine the joy and the ecstasy that can happen to you. So they come from that world of ecstasy, they come from that world of bliss, and then they talk the language that, look here, my children, even you can attain to this state, what I have attained. Even you can be as ecstatically blissful and happy as I am. You are suffering, you are in pain, because you are in the dual world of pain and pleasures. And I have transcended this dual world of pains and pleasure to the world beyond pain, beyond pleasure, because your pleasure, which always pushes you towards all the actions and activities by which you really feel, oh, I'll be so happy if only I have this great job. Oh, I'll be so happy if I get a rise or get a promotion. Oh, I'll be so happy if I can get married to that particular woman or to that particular man. Oh, how lovely my life could be if I could get a trip to the foreign land somewhere which I'm so dream to see, that wonderful mountain and the lake and the ocean and the beach. This could be your, kind of inner, natural trend of your desires. But Baba says, every desire ultimately leads to pain. Every pleasure ultimately will take you to a space where you will find suffering. So, question was, what is tap? What is that which brings afflictions? What is that which brings so much of sufferings in this world? Why there is so much suffering in this world? Why the world is such a place where even if I have little pleasure, as if someone is so jealous, I can't even have it and sustain it longer. In spite of all my wishes, my pleasure turns into some kind of painful experience to follow as consequence. Because Baba Lokenath is saying, you are basically living in a dual world of opposites. Your mind, as long as you are working from the plane of your mind, as long as you are working from the plane of your egoic mind, that means the mind driven by ego consciousness, you can be rest assured. What? You can be rest assured that you will never see a unipolar universe. Try to understand this. You will never see a unipolar universe. You will see a bipolar universe. And this bipolar is your mind. As long as you are seeing through the glasses of your mind, it's like this two. It's not one, it's two. So the glasses have these two glasses. It's not glasses. So the mind always brings two. He's such a wonderful person. I love him so much. He's such a, he's a very bad man. I don't know. I always try to avoid him. See, look here. This is like one you are saying you like, and the next moment you're talking about something you dislike. It's always the opposite. This moment you talk about an experience which is so happy, next moment something happens and you find that you are no longer in a happy world, as if your world has crumbled into a state of unhappiness. So this is very important. We need to understand the way of this world, what is the mechanics, what is the matrix of this world, how does it work. If we understand this matrix, if we understand this mechanism, if we understand the exact technicality of this beyond mind engineering that has been done by God in order to create and sustain this particular world in which we all inhabit, humans and all other species of animals and innumerable, world of plants and trees and greens. So in this creative process, what we find, the moment creation comes, you find the invariably that flows with it is suffering. That means the moment you are trying to see things from the plane of your egoic mind, you are only creating circumstances in which today or tomorrow you are going to see the manifestation of some kind of pain and suffering and agony. Here, Jamin is asking a very crucial question to his master. And not only that, I'm so grateful to Jamini that he put that in a diary, these words of the master, so that today, hundreds of years back, today we all are sitting, and what kind of world are we seeing around us? What kind of situation do we see in our own family, of our siblings, of our own parents, of our own children, and of our own spouses, and our friends? Or what kind of world we see when we go into the world of our work, business, profession? Isn't it exactly what the bipolar world is all about? Everybody is working for success. And what it is bringing? Yes, it is bringing success. But don't you see that success is also a kind of addiction? Anyone who gets addicted to success chases every opportunity to create more success. And more success brings more success. But no, it also brings lot of trauma, lot of pain and suffering, of stress at the highest level. Ask anybody who has tested success how much pain and suffering and stress he or she has gone through, or how much pain and suffering he or she is going through every day to sustain success. This is the world. That is the reason Baba Lokenath is saying. Such a deep wisdom and profound wisdom, that don't take happiness for granted. Don't take success for granted. Don't take happiness for granted. Don't even think that just because you are chasing happiness, you will definitely, invariably get happiness. Don't ever think that if you are chasing success with all your passion in your own work and deeds, and finally attain to your success, tangibly you can see success, but you don't rejoice so much, because your delight will not so much stay with you for long. There will be moments, there will be time when all of it will no longer be yours. Anything can happen to anyone at any point of time, because you and I, we all live in a world which is bipolar. If we are seeing the day, let us not take the day for granted. If you are taking the sunshine and we are basking in the light of the sun and having all the fun of the world, let us not take this sunlight for granted. Just by evening, you'll find the sun is almost in the western horizon and is setting, and then gradually there'll be twilight, and then gradually the darkness will envelop this world. It is the opposite of what sun had done throughout the day, the light gradually giving space to the darkness. Again, we cannot take darkness also for granted. A time gradually comes when we find in the eastern horizon, just the opposite, in the western horizon, the sun is setting and the darkness enveloping this world of ours. And in the early dawn morning, we find that the sun is in the eastern horizon. Again, the bipolar, the other side is gradually seeing the sun rising, and then there is a beautiful hue of orange light all over the space of the eastern sky, and then gradually that also grows into a full blasted light when the sun bursts into the open. This light and darkness, this is the bipolar world. So you and I should not ever take any state of our life for granted. If a child is born and we are also happy that a child is born, let's at the same time realize the fact somebody up there is ready to die. If someone has come into this world and is born, we are celebrating it. But let us also celebrate the other aspect of it. If something is born, it is definitely going to decay and die. It doesn't have that element of permanence with it. Everything that is born in this world, whatever you create will one day meet its other end. Anything that is born will decay and die. Who is wise? Who is wise? Only that person is wise who is the richest in the world. All our definition of richness is concerning the materialistic possessions of life, which includes money, wealth. And if you can interview the youth of the world at any point of time, I mean, I'm talking the global thing. It was actually basically done in Harvard University with all the younger generation there. They were all interviewed, they were all, taken through a particular process of understanding what will make them truly happy in life. Why they are pursuing with such huge, kind of effort, the path that they have chosen. What it could be, finance, it could be management, it could be whatever. Why they are doing all of it. What, according to them, is their happiness index. And they always said, we want to be successful. We want to be healthy and at the same time wealthy. So the wealth, the money, the success, the popularity, each of this brings some kind of inner push into us that pushes us forward. It motivates us into taking this life as a wonderful journey, and we enjoy that. But it is only the beginning of the journey. In your youthful jest, with youthful days, you definitely can see the rainbow and be absolutely inspired. But as you go through life, when you are married, when you are settled in your relationships, as you move through life, you find, oh goodness, each and every relationship is such a huge challenge. To sustain the relationship, you can create the relationship. You can create any kind of a relationship. But you all know through your practical experience that creating a particular relationship is not that big a challenge as how to sustain it. You can get married to a person. But how you sustain that relationship of married man and woman huge challenge. On a day-to-day basis, when you come to the nitty-gritty of life, when you come to more detailings of your life on a daily basis, you'll find there'll be innumerable shades of problems which you need to fix every day. And the more problems you fix, more problems seems to be created out of nowhere. This is life. And you never can find a time when you are without any problems. As if you and problem, they're always there simultaneously, like you and your shadow. It's wherever you go, the shadow goes. In the same manner, wherever you go, your problem goes. And that you that I'm referring to, according to the wisdom of the great master, is this: that you is your mind. That you is your ego. So wherever your egoic mind goes, problems will automatically generate, because you are the problem. It is not that problems are outside of us. It's not that problems are falling from the sky. It is not that problems are being created in the trees. Problems are created by none other than me, for me. I am the creator of my problems. So this particular conversation that we are coming to know today, after years of when it actually happened at the beautiful ashram of Baba Lokenath in Bharati, which is about 35 kilometers from Dhaka airport. And it's a small tiny village. And when Baba came to that place, just imagine, it was the most unknown tiny little village hamlet. At that place, who has come? Shiva. Shiva has come in human form and has taken a small, he said, I built that particular little cottage with bamboos and hay and mud. And here he is staying there with all kinds of poor people who'd come to Baba and, keep on asking for the little things that is bothering them in their daily life. And Baba, with all patience and with the ultimate manifestation of the very embodiment of compassion and love, you'd keep on giving everybody whatever they just came to ask for. That's the reason he's often compared to as Kalpataru. Is one of in our Hindu tradition, one of the wonderful thing is that we have a concept like Kalpataru, which means a particular tree which is special. And what is the speciality of that tree? If you sit under that tree, whatever you desire, it happens instantly. Whatever you desire, instantly it manifests. You desire and you are right there. Baba Lokenath was just like that, Kalpataru. Whoever would come to Bharati and whoever would sit at the wonderful, beautiful cottage of Bharati and see Baba Lokenath, Lord Shiva in front, whatever they wish, whatever they ask for, Baba granted it. He was like the Kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree. Baba is telling each one of us something very profound. And that's exactly what you have to take it today as your carry back. Don't ask anybody in this world, please, from today on, don't ask anybody in this world why there is so much suffering in this world. Don't ask anybody in this world why you have miseries in your life. Because you rarely ask somebody why you are so happy. You ask the reasons for your pain and suffering because you don't so much enjoy it. But if you understand, as I said, the deeper mechanics and the matrix of this particular universal process of evolution of consciousness, you will realize, you will gradually gain wisdom. You will not get knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. Knowledge is information. By knowledge, you gain power, but you don't get freedom out of it. Knowledge empowers you. You can take care of everything around you in this world, but you cannot take care of both worlds, the inner and the outer. Knowledge cannot empower you to the extent where you can freely move through the inner self of yours and the outer challenges of this world. You really don't have that particular freedom. It is the wisdom which gives you the freedom to transcend the barriers, borders. It is the wisdom which makes you a wise person. The moment you become a wise person, what happens is that wisdom dawns like the dawn of the beautiful sun rising in the eastern horizon after a long, deep darkness of the night. And this long, deep darkness of the night is the phase of our ignorance in life. As we move from ignorance to ignorance to ignorance, we also at the same time move toward that ultimate time when in the eastern horizon we'll see the rising of the sun of wisdom. So what is wisdom? Wisdom is that which will make you wise. What it is to be wise? To be wise is to know that your happiness is actually a sorrow. It's a sugar-coated pill. Inside, if you have a capsule, if you just open inside, there is poison. But the capsule looks very beautiful from the surface. And maybe when it comes, it basically tells you that if you have this capsule, you'll have wonderful good time, fantastic. You'll have a thrill. You'll be excited. You'll enjoy. Take this capsule. That's happiness capsule. But when you open both the two caps of that capsule, you'll find inside, or that sugar-coated top, inside what is hiding is pain, suffering, affliction. We can't see that. It's a kind of a mirage. It's a kind of a beautiful conspiracy, a design. The universal designer has designed it in such a way that we will be naturally drawn towards that particular colorful capsule, a sugar-coated pill, so that we will know, if I can have that pill, wow, what a joy it would be. And you have the pill and you start to feel a little different. Initially you get a kick. Initially you feel, wow, it is so beautiful. But finally, gradually you find the same thing that gives you happiness is the same thing which pushes you into miseries and pain and tears. Nothing is in this world a pure blessing. Nothing in this world is a pure blessing. Everything in this world is a mixed blessing, because you live in a bipolar world. It's mixed. Understanding this would gradually create that you in you, which will no longer ask, why me? Why I'm suffering? What wrong did I do? I have been a good Samaritan. I was all along a good person. I don't think I caused pain to anybody in this world. I don't think that I did anything wrong. You are clueless at times. Why? Suffering strikes you like a bolt. Why? And you at times ask a question, what is this damn world? What's this damn God who created this particular world where out of nowhere comes all kinds of pains and agonies to human life? Suddenly the sky opens and it is a sky burst and so much of rain pours down in one small locality, as if the whole world's rain is collected at one place, and the sky opens up, the clouds opens up, and it just starts pouring. And that whole place is flooded in no time. Huts and buildings, everything is affected. People become homeless. All they accumulated, everything that they collected, all they thought, this will give me happiness of life, is washed in no time, taken in the tide. These kind of catastrophes are happening everywhere. Catastrophes in a big, but if I look at individual life also, you will see that at times you find that everything is going so good and you almost feel, oh, finally, a sigh of relief. Wow, now I can at least have. I have heard many people saying, it reminds me, I have heard many people saying, Baba, I just need about 3 to 4 crores of rupees. Just bless me that I have some crores of rupees with me, and then I can settle my children, I can settle everybody, and then I'll become a saint. I'll become a holy person. I'll just become a monk, or I'll become somebody who will be always possibly sitting at the home altar doing meditation. These are fancy ideas, that if you have a few crores and if you have already settled your kids, you will have time to meditate. This is the fancy, not only fancy, it's the funniest idea. Nobody has seen the reality of it. Because by the time your kids are grown up, the kids are grown up and your problem is solved. That's not true. When your kids grow up, your problems multiply, because your kids give birth to kids, and their kids give birth to kids. And you are a grand old man or woman with not only kind of children, but grandchildren. So your attachment has gone from children to grandchildren. So you are more attached. Anything happening to one of the many grandchildren, you are in absolute loss. You are in such an ocean of not bliss, but pain. But you thought, by the time my children will grow and get settled, then I'll have enough time in my life to do all my beautiful sadhana. Because I don't have to go to the work, I don't have to earn money, I don't have to take care of my children and their studies and to taking them from school to school, from school to playground, to the other places. I'll just have time to completely relax. You can't relax. Tap. That's where we started today. Tap. Jamini, the disciple of Baba Lokenath, asked the Grandmaster of the Himalayas, "Oh Master, please tell me, what exactly is this tap or this suffering in this world all about?" Baba says, your happiness is also a cause. But the question comes, why happiness should become a cause of misery? It's because our attachment to suffering, our attachment to happiness will invariably give rise to suffering. I know of a person who tells me at times, Baba, when I'm very happy, one thought kills me. If this happiness is gone, then what will I do? So during my phase of happiness or success, I am being haunted by a deep sense of insecurity inside of me. And that insecurity is, if I cannot sustain this success, if I cannot sustain this happiness, what will happen to me? if I don't have this particular popularity and the money and the social status and everything which I'm enjoying today, if something happens, if this is snatched out of my hands, what will happen to me? This is the reason Baba says that you have to watch out. You have to watch out your belief system. You have to watch out your conditions. You have to watch out what are you banking upon. On what are you depending in order to see that time when the time will tell you that you are truly a success, where you are no longer a bonded slave of circumstances, situations, and some workloads around. A bonded slave, you are no longer that. When you have the freedom to be who you are, when you have the freedom to be who you are truly success. When you have the freedom to be who you have truly tasted the nectar of the bliss or happiness in life. Because you are who you are. Normally in the worldly life, you are not who you are. You are trying to be many, like putting on different masks at different time in order to please somebody or the other all the time. Don't you think so? So this is very important. This is very important to understand the profoundest philosophy, insight, which Baba Lokenath is giving to each one of us. Each one of us, in the sense, what is that profound thing that Baba is talking to us? Watch out your happiness. This is your takeaway. This is your takeaway of this day's evening satsang. That watch out your craziness for being a success and happy. It's not a reality. Success can give you a kick of thrill, but how will you sustain it? And do you think that it is only going to make you in a space where you can truly have success and happiness and no stress and no pain and no suffering of physical and mental illnesses? You will have. So to be truly happy, you have to redefine your entire concept and philosophy of life. To be truly successful, you have to completely re-examine the very fibers with which this whole story of success is woven. You have to be very deeply insightful to know what can make you truly a successful person, and at the same time, a stress-free, relaxed, happy, centered, meditative individual, for which we need to really follow the insights of these great masters who have transcended these barriers created by humans and humanity. What is these barriers? The barriers between success and failure, pain and pleasure, happiness and unhappiness, good and bad. This duality needs to be transcended. And Baba's gesture today is this, that what experience in your life you go through, about the sorrows, miseries, and successes and happinesses. So all this happiness and unhappiness. So here we have to just watch what makes us happy could also make us unhappy in life. If marriage ensures you protection, if marriage ensures you a home, if marriage ensures you a progeny, then at the same time accept the fact that you are not walking into a space where there will be pleasure and pleasure and more pleasure and more pleasure, happiness and happiness and more happiness and more happiness. No. It just can't be. The world doesn't say that. But don't you think in this world there are people who have attained to a state where they are not afflicted by these bipolar tendencies of this world of ignorance? Only they have, who have transcended the barriers of ignorance, avidya. So Baba says, watch out, Yamini. If you are asking what causes tap, then know that tap means the pain. If you want to avoid pain, then don't try to run away from pain. If you want to avoid suffering, then don't try to run away from suffering. If you want to avoid the negativity of life, don't try to run away from the negativity of life. You have to face it head on. Understanding or trying to understand its inner essence, its inner mechanics, how this whole thing works. Where exactly is the root of unhappiness? Where exactly is the root of happiness? You'll find the same root which gives space to happiness is the same root which creates unhappiness. Because deep inside, if you go to find out the root of everything in this world, it's all about ignorance. It's all about ignorance of this bipolar reality. When we chase a particular reality, we take it for granted. This is what I will have always, which you cannot have. Always is not the word that is in the dictionary of this bipolar world. Eternity or eternal or posterity or continuity, permanence is not in this world. Sorry. You cannot be permanently happy, nor can you be permanently unhappy. You can't have only sorrows and miseries. You cannot have only ecstasies and ecstasies. You can have both. This is the word. So when you are unhappy, don't unnecessarily question anyone in this world why you are unhappy. If in your family life you have challenges and problems, and if you have anguish and anxieties, don't unnecessarily get baffled about it. This is happening to everyone in this world. It's nothing new happening to you. It's happening to everyone in this world. You are a part of this world. You are part of your mind. You are part of your ego. And where there is world, where there is creation, where there is mind, where there is, what do you call this, ego, it will give rise to pain and suffering. It will create tap. It will create tap. If we understand this, right, then in your life, you will be very equipoised. You'll be calm. You'll not so much, be reactive and agitated and aggressive. So the very act of aggression in you will gradually subside because you are trying to anchor more on the wisdom of the great wise people in the world. What is the wisdom? If you're happy, then tomorrow you'll be unhappy. Don't take your happiness as the way of this world, final. And in the same tone, if you're unhappy, if you have something which is causing misery to you, don't even take it as permanent. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Because nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. Everything is in a world of impermanence. Keeping that in mind, the wise ones sees everything as something of a phenomenon, of a flux of change. And in these changing patterns of the creative, sustaining and annihilative recycling process, these are all just happening and unhappening. And the one who is behind all of this is a drashta, is a sakshi, the one immovable one. The one who witnesses this entire spectrum of this beautiful world of myriad minutes of creative process in action. So today we are so blessed that we could be at the lotus feet of a great Grandmaster of the Himalayas, who came down from the Himalayas to a tiny little hamlet, Bharati, and stayed there for long periods of more than 2 decades, and then distributed to all who came to him everything that they wished and demanded, but could not make happy everyone, because whoever demanded and desired something from the Guru, Guru gave, but that did not give him the peace and happiness permanent. Because anything that Guru gives you from outside, you can rejoice. It can make you feel happy temporarily, but that gift that comes from outside cannot make you permanently happy. Only that gift which comes from the Guru as the light of wisdom dawning from inside the very root of all your ignorant state of mind to a state of awareness, enlightened, illumined state of mind, which is only possible by Guru's grace, by Guru's grace, by Guru's grace. Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam, Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam, Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam. Only through the Guru's grace, when this ignorance will be transmuted into ignited into a state of absolute illumination of knowledge and wisdom, then you find that you have transcended these dualisms, these pain-pleasure cycles. Whatever will happen then will happen outside of you. Deep inside, you are seated in a plane of stable ground of Dhruva Smritihi, in a stable ground of your mind, where you find nothing seems to create any kind of a tremor inside of you. So there are no traumas anymore, and you find that you are absolutely poised in a calm, meditative, peaceful, tranquil mind, and you are full of compassion, full of love for every being on earth. That's what is the ultimate human excellence. This is the ultimate human destination. That's our destiny in this world. We are all born not to suffer, but to transcend suffering to this state where there is only peace and happiness and tranquility beyond this worldliness of this world. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Everything is enveloped by this divine radiance of light. And from divine comes divine. What remains after taking divine out of divine is also divine. And that divine is who you are. That divine is who I am. That divine is everything around us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.